Hi everybody, in this video I want to talk about how much resources or how many resources and tools it takes to build a solo starter base in Rust, and how long does it take to build. We're going to be looking at a nice simple 2x1 airlocked base that's made all of wood with locked doors, a locked tool cupboard, a storage box and a sleeping bag. And I'll also discuss the upgrades to stone walls, ceilings and floors, and metal doors as well to make it even more secure. And at the end we'll talk about locations to build in as well. Now, what's really important when you start off and you've just got your rock and you're bashing away at trees, picking up pieces of stumps and stones and things, is that you really want to make the stone hatchet first. And you're probably going to need two of them because they do break. And the stone hatchet is great for harvesting wood quickly. And for that, you're going to need 400 wood and you're going to need 200 stone. And once you've got the stone hatchet, you'll find you can get through trees pretty quick. It's worth building a couple of stone pickaxes as well. The pickaxes is used for harvesting stone. So, you use your stone hatchet on wood and you use your stone pickaxes on stone nodes. Those big rocks with the shiny bit on. You're going to need the building hammer, which costs 100 wood, and you're going to need a building plan, which only costs 20 wood. So the tools that you're going to need, you're looking at about 320 wood, something like that, and about 100 stone. Now, the bits that you're going to be putting aside your base, you're going to be building a tool cupboard, which costs you 1,000 wood. You're going to want a lock for the tool cupboard, which is going to be 75 wood. You're going to need locks for the two doors we're going to put on, which are 75 wood each. Two wooden doors, which are 300 wood each. You're going to need 30 cloth for the sleeping bag, and we're going to need another 100 wood for the wood storage box. So that works out at just under 2,000 wood, about 1925, and 30 cloth. Yeah, and you'll be building them as you're going along. Now, when we actually come to build our base, when we've got enough stuff, we're going to need 125 wood for the foundation, and this is just like the twig foundation. 300 wood for the walls, 70 wood for the door frames, 63 wood for the roof. However, they're just twigs and they can be bashed down very, very quickly. So really we want to have enough wood to upgrade the walls to wood straight away. So for that, the foundation needs 500 wood, the walls need 1,200 wood, the door frames need 270 wood, the roof needs 250 wood, which means we need 2,220 wood. So to bring that all together then, when you're running around and you're collecting your resources, the total for all the tools and the components and the build you need for your wooden starter base, you're going to need, and these are the figures to have in mind, is about 5,250 wood. If you think 5,500 wood, that will get you there. And you're going to need about 200, 300 stone and 30 cloth. Alright, so that will then give you... Now, you might think, well, that's loads, isn't it? It's not actually that many. It's not actually that much. Now, if we're going to upgrade the walls to stone as well, we're going to need about 3,500 stone as well. So as you're wandering around, if you do see stuff on the floor like stone, please pick it up as you're going along. You won't have enough to upgrade everything, but it will start getting you there. And then if we want to upgrade the doors to metal, if we want to create metal doors, we're going to need 300 metal fragments. And you're probably going to get the metal fragments from recyclers. So if you do get the opportunity to bash in a few oil drums, do that, and you're looking for things like propane tanks, which you can put into a recycler and get metal fragments out. Now, you get about, depending on the tree, with let's say about 500 wood per tree, and that's using the stone hatchet. And you get roughly 700 stone per stone node, and that's with the stone pickaxe. And so that's about 11 trees and 5 stone nodes. So the 11 trees isn't really a problem. The stone nodes can be a little bit more difficult to find. You're also going to need 3 hemp plants, which is easy, to make your sleeping bag. And if you want to make those metal doors, for example, out of propane bottles, you need 6 propane bottles to do that. So on an empty server, with no one to bother you and plenty of resources, you're looking, you can do it under 20 minutes to build the basic 2x1 airlock wooden base with reinforced wooden walls, wooden doors, a tool cupboard, sleeping bag, and a storage box. And locks on those. You could do that in under 20 minutes, and that would give you a nice sort of start to be your foundation for that particular experience on that Rust server. Now, to gather the stone needed to upgrade the walls, floor and ceiling, it's going to take a lot longer because it depends on which biomes you're near. Are you near the desert biome? Are you near some cliffs? Are you near the rocks where you can round and pick this stuff up? And again, metal fragments, sometimes it's really easy to get enough metal fragments because you'll be like, oh wow, I've got some propane bottles, I'm near, say, the abandoned supermarket, so you can go to the recycler, and you can get it. Other times, you'll be forced to use things like a furnace to create metal fragments, which I'll cover in a different video. Now, it speeds up if you can make sure that as you're running around, you're crafting the items that you should have. So we've mentioned the fact that you really want to start with the stone hatchet and the stone pickaxe because they enable you to harvest wood and harvest stone quicker and more efficiently. But you also want to be, as soon as you've got some resource, start crafting the building plans, start crafting the hammer, start crafting the doors, start crafting the locks and the tool cupboard. And the storage box and the sleeping bag, and then basically they're all ready as soon as you need them to put up your structure. Now, this all, of course, changes on a busy server where you haven't got many resources. You'll have new players, you'll have grubs trying to kill you, you'll have equipped players taking pot shots at you with their rifles, you'll have animals chasing you, you'll have the danger of radiation from monuments, you'll be starving to death, you'll be dying of dehydration, you'll be getting too cold and too wet. So things start to take a lot longer, and when you're in that situation on a tough server, and trust me, there's lots of times when you're on a tough server, don't try and do everything at once. Get close to the location where you might want to build your base, and then put down a sleeping bag and build a stash, an underground stash, and put them down. Remember where they are, so that if you do get killed, you don't have to completely start again. You can come back to that. You can respawn at that sleeping bag. You can go in the stash. You can get the stuff out. So, considering about where you should build your base, because I know lots of people will be thinking, well, where should I build my base? Where's the safest place? The easiest answer to that is, well, there isn't really anywhere in Rust. The safest place to build in Rust is on a private server where there's nobody else there. But there's a few different schools of thought. One of the main ones is that, as soon as you spawn in, you should start running inland to get away from the beaches, to get away from the grubs, to get away from those fresh spawns, because they like nothing better than running around with rocks and spears and killing each other and killing you. So you try and get towards the middle of the map, maybe away from some of the monuments that attract some of the kitted players. Try and get out of sight of the other bases and then build there. The catch there, though, when you're inland in places like that, is the fact that you do end up, you do have well-equipped players wandering around, and because they do have machine guns, because they do have explosives, they can break into your base very, very quickly. Another school of thought is, just build anywhere where you're not seen. So if you find like a nice little dip in the landscape, that isn't on one of the main routes of people coming from the beach going inland, just build it there. One of the cool ideas I quite like is the idea of actually doing a harvesting loop. So you start off at the beach and then do a big loop towards inland. So you're picking up all your wood, you're picking up your stone, you're picking up your metal fragments if you can, and then you loop back to the beach, probably somewhere near, a cliff, so somewhere where that people won't actually want to be for very long, and you build there, maybe right on the beach itself. And the idea of that is that the only players you'll have to deal with are new spawns who will just have their rocks. Maybe they'll make some spears or some bows and arrows. But they're not that much of a threat once you've got your base done. And they don't really have the tools to break into your base. And also, being down on the beach, equipped players aren't really going to spend much time on there. They're not going to come looking for you. So there's a good chance your base would kind of hang around for a bit longer. So you can kind of choose one of those tactics or strategies depending on how you're feeling and depending on how the server kind of is set up. But probably one of the best things to think about is your bases are only temporary anyway. Somebody's going to break into it. Someone's going to smash it up and going to have to start again. But with these small starter bases, it's not that difficult to make another one. And maybe the thing you should do is you start off, make your starter base somewhere, and then as soon as you've got together, you've managed to craft some clothes, or you've found some clothes where you can keep warm, then you should go somewhere like the winter biomes, where all the snow and the ice is, and go deep into one of them and build a base there, because new players definitely don't like going into the winter biomes because it's too cold and they freeze to death, and it's not a particularly attractive place to build anyway, and you probably kind of be left by yourself a little bit more, especially as a solo player where stealth is very important and discretion is definitely the better part of valor. So there we go. They're the kind of the facts about what you need to build a base. You're probably looking, as I say, for that wooden starter base, it's about 5,300 wood, about 200 stone, 30 cloth. And then if you want to upgrade to stone walls, it's about 3,400 stone, and you'll need 300 metal fragments for those metal doors. And as I say, on a good server that's pretty much empty and has got plenty of resources, you can, if you're lucky, build a basic wooden base in under 20 minutes, and a bit longer on more busy servers as well. So there we go. Hopefully you found that video useful. If you have, hit like. If you want to see more of the same, press subscribe. Put your questions and comments down below, and I will of course see you again soon.